So, a short recap of what we've done so far. What I explained yesterday is that one of the things that I really wanted to do when we were building Vela is offering the people um, a status page, basically telling people what the state of the system is, if it works right now, if anything is broken, if anything is missing, right? So the typical stuff. And I looked around, I found some options. Some are well known, like the option of Atlassian. Some are open source, like cached and I think open status. Um, and either they're fairly expensive or they're limited in functionality, they're limited in the type of checks you can do. Some are written in PHP, which I find confusing as it is not the best language in the world to have a permanent running service that is constantly checking stuff. Um, so there were always some things that I didn't find really like ideal, right? So from that perspective, what I've done for Vela is actually starting to write my own system. Well, vibe code my own system. It started as a dashboard, very minimal stuff. Then I've added a basic health checks for this system. Then I added the status page, and it grew and still keeps growing. Um, while it is not like 100% vibe coded, like I interfere, I teach it to do different things or to do things differently. Sometimes I keep removing things, cleaning stuff up, writing my own components, teaching it to use those components, all that kind of stuff, right? So from that perspective, it's still mostly vibe code. Let's put it that way, right? And with this small series and the first episode started yesterday, I'm trying to build this like status page, publish it as open source on GitHub. And maybe if people are interested and want to join in, maybe that can become something bigger. Um, quick note, I'm not a vibe coding expert. This is what I've learned over the last couple of weeks, trying it out myself, trying to use it, figuring out how stuff works. um and yeah. So yesterday I did the first iteration. Actually, it wasn't supposed to be an actual stream. I wanted to just quickly try it out, but people joined, people wanted to see it, so I thought like, okay, fair enough. Let's do the first session right away. What we've done is we told Codex. I'm actually using OpenAI Codex. That's the one that I have most experience with and that I have the best experience so far with. I know people would call out Claude as the better option. I haven't tested Claude much. I've tried Gemini and I've tried Copilot and a few other things. So far, Codex does the best for me, but maybe it's just because I used it most. And I kind of got used to the way you have to frame things in Codex to actually work out, right? So who knows? I don't. Would be interesting to see if people have different opinions. So if you're watching and you have a great experience with Claude or bad experience with Codex or anything, and you figured something out, let me know. I'm happy to learn new stuff, right? Um, so anyway, yesterday we used Codex to generate like the general setup. Let me quickly start it up right here, so we can see what it looks like right now. Um, and when we go here and say 3000, and there we are, right? So very basic, all still fully hard coded, no database, nothing yet under. Well, there is a database. We actually had it open yesterday. It uses Vela, but the data is all still hard coded, so nothing comes from a database really yet, right? So we have a private admin which needs an admin token, which is, I think, it is actually in the file, if not mistaken. Yep. So it's a super, super long random secret. Cool. And it's signing us in. I actually haven't tried that. And it seems it doesn't do anything. Okay, cool. Great job, AI, whatever you've done. I get a session back, so I guess it should work. I mean, all right, cool. True. Yeah. Okay. Maybe we have to tell it a little bit more. Okay. Fair enough. Anyway, I'm using incognito. Let me quickly log in to Vela. Demo Vela run. This is what we use for the demo environment. You're free to sign up and play around with it yourself. So we have the Statuspage environment. There you go. We have 3 tables. If I look at the tables, there is some components, right? The components we actually see here. The 4 components are in the system. It actually has a 5th one, which is overall. So the overall status across all the other ones. Okay, fair enough. You see that there is response time and stuff. It's all hard coded. It's not updated yet. So that is what we're gonna do today, and make it a little bit more entertaining and exciting. Maybe, hopefully. Let's see. It's all up to the AI to prove to us that it can do it, right? So let's see. We stopped yesterday with me telling the AI how I want to have the uptime bars look like, and that I want to have it in like 2 columns. I think that's good enough for now. So let's see. Next up, let's make it look a little bit nicer. Somehow, every time Codex generates an app, it loves this grayish, beige, whatever color. It seems to be its very much favorite color of all time. So let's get rid of that. Change the background of the public status page to some to light. Yeah, I like the autocomplete, some light blue. Let's see. Let's keep it going with that. So as I said, I'm not an expert on vibe coding. I'm pretty sure there's people out there screaming at me right now like, oh, you're doing it wrong. That's cool. Let me know if you have any thoughts on how to do it better. There you go. We got some light blue, and I think it might actually had some initial or basic gradient in the background. So anyway, if you have anything you say that is completely wrong, or write your prompts like that, I'm happy to learn. I always want to get better. I did not look a lot into other things. One of the things that I know is that you really want to have those like agent files and Claude or Codex files, depending on what you're using, that we will add specific skill files in the near future when we add the individual status health checks, so that the agent will know or will understand afterwards how to create additional ones. So that will be a skill, and then we see where we keep going with that, right? Okay, so we have that. I think the rest is fairly okay for now. It still looks kind of weird, but I think it's good enough for now. So let's first try and fix the admin login. And here, so one thing I've figured out for me personally, which works best, if I give it like small individual tasks bit by bit. Sometimes, or most of the time, what I actually do is every single time I'm happy with the result, I'm actually updating or actually adding it to Git, just to make sure that if the thing goes haywire and remove stuff and delete stuff, that I can actually, in the worst case, go back and say, yeah, whatever, right? So status page background, something like that, right? So I keep making Git commits, and I gonna push it to GitHub afterwards, or maybe somewhere in between once in a while, right? So okay, cool. Right. So let's start with let's remove or The admin page should be under. All right, let's see. There we go. It did some changes. The link is gone. Let's see if /admin works. Yeah, it actually does work. Okay, so it seems like it did something with the admin token. Because it seems like it actually logged me in. All right, cool. Not sure if it actually fixed it now or if it fixed it before. Whatever. Okay, so now we have that. We see that there is actually nothing for the services. Okay. All right. Let's start differently. Make the admin section a nice dashboard design. Oops. Dashboard design. With site. Apps, sidebar, and top navigation. Something like that. Let's see how far we get with that. Oh, well, and I guess okay, let's see how far we can get with that. So the idea is that eventually I want to have like a more typical kind of like admin dashboard layout, right? So we would have the different sections here. I would have like service definitions, health check definitions. I don't know, right? You know what I mean? Incident management and all that kind of stuff. Oh yeah, there you go. Overview, configuration, incidents. So let's give it another second to update the CSS file, I guess. And then I'll see what it actually looks like now. Okay, yeah, not perfect, but definitely much better. I think I think I can live with that. To be honest, it's not horrible. Okay, but it. All right. Okay. It did anchor links. Cool. Why not? Okay. Move incident management to its own page. So I actually want to have actual individual pages where we're gonna add quite a bit more stuff afterwards. So let's see. And we need to call this into rename this into status vibes. That's what I actually called it now. just because. Try to find a good name, and as all engineers know, naming things is like the worst thing you can do or try. And I guess I failed, but because we're vibe coding, I thought status vibes is actually quite useful. Okay, it's still working. In the meantime, while it is working, I can show you a few more things. In Vela, right? So for, as I said yesterday, for people that already know Supabase, that will look very familiar. What we actually did is when we started Vela, we forked out Supabase. We cleaned it up a lot. And we added a lot functionality back that was missing in the open source or like self-hostable version. So from that perspective, there is a lot of stuff that might look familiar, but there is also a lot of stuff that was actually rebuilt. And I see my IDE hopping, so that means our coding agent is done. Let's have a quick look what it actually did. Admin dashboard shell, okay. Incident manager, that's okay. I kind of like that the sound of it. We have the admin bar. Okay, let's see what it did, and then we get back to it. Okay, so now we have incident management. Not perfect, but better. Let's now add a new admin page for service management. Right, so I want to have like the services that we just saw in the database. I want to have them as a separate page. So while it keeps going, we have logs. We actually use PG Bouncer. We use Postgres, a plain Postgres 18.1 version right now. We're planning to upgrade to the what is it, 18.2, I think, in the very near future. But we need to rebuild the image for that. For testing, it's good enough. For monitoring, we actually use Grafana. So whatever is in your environment is good enough, right? It doesn't have any data right now. Okay, fair enough. Something to let my colleagues know. And then we have the common things, but we also know from Supabase, we have the query performance analyzer, we have the performance advisor, we have authentication and user management, policies, all kinds of row level security policies. We have the schema editor. There is no foreign foreign key relations between those things. We have plenty of extensions, so if you want something, you can just enable it. And we will use timescale. In case you don't know, I've been with timescale before. I joined SimplyBlock a couple of years ago. So we will use SimplyBlock. It is the Apache licensed version for obvious reasons. At the moment, it runs as, even if it's a sandbox, it runs as a hosted solution. So based on the timescale community license, we're not allowed to use the full version. If you would actually self-host it eventually, that is different. And then there's all kinds of other stuff, and we'll see a few more things in the near far future. Okay, so I saw it hopping on the other screen, meaning that our system is ready again. What I really like, and that is, from my perspective, one of the biggest steps forward towards, or like compared to what it was in the past. When I tried out coding agents in the very beginning, they love to do string concatenation for every single query. No matter what programming language, no matter what framework, string concatenation was like the thing they loved most for building queries. Obviously, with all the problems of SQL injection and everything. So when I tried it out a few weeks ago for the first time again, I was pleasantly surprised to see that most commonly those tools now use any kind of criteria API, or like placeholders and prepared statements. And that is cool. That resolves one of the biggest critical points that I've had in the past. So from that perspective, I think that's really good so far. Apart from that, it also looks good. So now we have the services. Let's see if it actually loaded the services already. Yes, it did. Okay, the edit services underneath, that is not ideal, I guess. So let's move the service edit to its own page. Give me just a second. I'll be right back with you. All right. I just had to quickly answer in Slack. it keeps thinking hard. And as you can see, I actually use codecs medium. I haven't tried what is it, like hard, large, high. I haven't tried high yet. I personally have pretty good experience with, or like pretty good results with medium. Low is not great, at least not from what I've seen. And as you can see, I also use a single agent, right? I'm not using 20, 40 agents, whatever people claim to use at the same time. I never tried it. If you have experience with that, please leave a comment. Let me know. I guess 2 agents might be kind of interesting, but I haven't tried it yet. So far, I am the 2nd agent. Okay, so edit. There we are. Now we're in the edit page. Current status degraded. Is that actually true? Let's see. Let's create another. Oh yeah. Okay. So I by accident got that one. Right. So at the moment that is obviously not great. That shouldn't be what it is, but at the moment it just makes a CRUD service out of it, I guess. Okay, let's keep going for now. We're gonna clean this up afterwards, so we can create a new service. Let's call it test. Baslug is also test. Its current status is operational and it has 100 milliseconds. Does that work? Okay, so we have some caching issue from what it looks like. It does not update the cache. But I saw that it just added it here, and I think that also added it. Okay, and now we have test underneath here. Okay, perfect. Before we keep going, add an automatic refresh. Oops, refresh of 30 seconds to the public page. Okay, let's quickly see if that actually works. How I would see that. I guess I have to reload it at least once. Does that actually do something? Okay, let's delete it first, and then we see if we get some reload here. Is that our reload? It probably is, right? No, nope. Is it? Is it not? I mean, it could be. Fetch server. No worries. No, it can be. No, can it? All right. Seems like it is. Let's add an indicator. Let's add a quick spinner so we can actually see when it starts reloading stuff. I think that makes sense. Just like a small spinner that appears like every 30 seconds. Yeah. Pretty much like that. Okay. Okay, let's see if it actually does what it claims to do. Okay, no, it's still not. There you go. Now we're finished. So let's see. No, I didn't look at the screen. Did it actually show it? Oh, I would say let's assume it did. Maybe, maybe not. Oh, come on. Okay, I looked here, but I think it was something here that just disappeared again. So let's assume it actually worked. Okay, I think that's good enough for now. We know that it actually works. Okay, so now we want to have like a basic framework for the health checks. Actual health checks. It needs to be generic and support different types of checks. We might get some cat invasion in a second. I hear our tomcat in the background. Let's see if he actually jumps in. So anyway, so we need a framework for a couple of different types of checks. So we want to have like the obvious HTTP check, post and get support, database check, database, let's say PostgreSQL check, connection string via environment variable. What else? Check. Oh yeah, that's actually a good one. Check the health of a Kubernetes. Yeah, Kubernetes deployment. What is it called? App deployment? Kubernetes app. Let me quickly figure it out. kubectl. I'm actually doing it on another screen, so don't worry. Deployment apps. K8s resource deployment apps. What else? We have that. I think we have a good initial chunk. Let's see if we have anything else. I want to make sure that it understands it needs to be fairly generic. In Vela, we actually have the database virtual machine. So I have one more layer on top of Kubernetes pods, which is our virtual machines. And the virtual machines itself have services and stuff installed. So that would be one option. Alternatively, yeah, let's go with that first and see how far we get, and then we see if we need anything else. I mean, we want to get somewhere. It's not me thinking about stuff too hard. It is an iterative process. We're vibe coding. We're vibing our way, right? So let's see. Yes, that is true. There is no existing check engine. Really good. You're awesome. You could have asked me, but hey, you figured it out on your own. By the way, did it update the file? Okay, so the agent file doesn't work right now. The agent file should tell it to keep it up to date. Cool. Yeah. Okay. So I need to tell it to actually read the agent file, I guess. I'm sorry, I just have like a very little snotty nose. in case you wonder. But that shouldn't give us much problems. So we see there's a base check, HTTP, Postgres, Kubernetes deployment. Okay, fair enough, whatever. Healthy, unhealthy, get post. Okay, so it can do headers, it can do body, expected status codes. Yeah, that's nice. Cool. Min replicas. Yep, that's also good. Check executor, run health check. I think that all looks fairly okay for now. I guess that is fine. Deployment check. No, that does not look fine. I really don't want to do like custom HTTP towards Kubernetes. That's not what we're gonna do here. Forget about that. That's not what we're gonna do. Okay. For the Kubernetes checks, use the Kubernetes. What is it? Kubernetes JS library, right? Library. And I haven't checked in for way too long, I think. Let's quickly do a bit of check-in, at least to that level where all the stuff is staged. So we're sure we at least have something. Initial admin dashboard with services and initial health check framework, something like that. I mean, the commits are non super critical anyways, so it doesn't matter. So let's do this. I'm doing it for you. I think the problem is that I actually configured it to not be able to really run commands. I still don't understand why that is such a problem for itself, but I don't know. Okay, there you go. Whatever. So it definitely should work next time it tries. Let's stop it. Okay, not sure if it would actually it does not. Okay, that works. That's so weird. Anyway, okay. So now it actually has that. Yep. So what did it do here? Clusters, users. Health check context. Why would you know? Use the local. What is the directory dot cube? And then config. Yes, use the local. Config. So this is where I always think it's cool that it does all of that, but you still need to be able to at least read the source code to some extent to ensure that you actually do the right, or that it actually does the right thing, right? So in this case, it actually tried to create a Kubernetes config on the fly, which is completely nuts and stupid. It doesn't make any sense at all. I wanted to use the default environment, which is either my kubeconfig file, or if it would run in Kubernetes, it would get this information from a service account, right? So like that. Now see, seems like it actually removed a bunch of stuff. I removed all the config file, blah blah. Yeah, I think that looks good. All right, let's see what kind of stuff it actually did in the backend, if it did anything. No, I think it did not. Okay, so now add a section to configure health checks for individual services, and the service added page. So the idea is we define a service, and then we basically give it one or more health checks to ensure that it is that the service is healthy. We don't store the results yet, so that's another thing afterwards. But for now, let's go bit by bit and see how far we can go today. I have about another 20-ish minutes time, and then we'll see. Okay, so it wants to do some stuff into the database. Okay, that makes sense, I guess. It wants to store the health checks according to the service. That is good. We have status, list service health checks. So one of the things that I mentioned yesterday is that I really love to just watch for the individual changes it wants to do, or it actually did to the code, just to ensure that stuff is not completely out of what I want it to be. Health check input, okay. Don't have to look into that because it's a new file anyways. I just quickly had to ban someone on Twitch. It's still going. But I guess it should be fairly close to being finished. I mean, it adds the routes now to save data. That's fair. But what are you doing now? Okay, that still needs to think for a second, I guess. All right, there you go. It looks much better. Oh, cool. So it seems like we're actually having a working check now. Did that just reload in the backend as well? Maybe it did, maybe it did not. I am not 100% sure. Well, anyway, let's go for now. HTTP test. Let's go with google.com. So we know that this is actually a fair check. We expected 200. Fail to save. That is good or not good. All right. We haven't added the table yet. Right. We don't have we don't have database migration yet. So that is a fair thing that we could do fairly soon. For now, let's just run it ourselves. And then we try to save it again. There you go. Perfect. Okay, now it's actually saved. Let's use that one. Database URL. Wait. Okay, it needs a name. PG test. All right. So now we have two tests. Both are enabled. Not sure how I would actually disable them. Oh, there you go. Ooh. That is ugly. Okay. We can fix that afterwards. Not everything at once. Let's get this stuff working first. It's always a problem. tend to get distracted real quick, especially with those like small things. Okay. So now use a cron execute the health checks every 60 seconds, something like that. Let's see. In the actual version that we use, it decided, because it already knew that I wanted to deploy to Kubernetes. It came up with the idea of using a Kubernetes cron job and a webhook, basically, or like a route to trigger the actual operation, which is pretty cool because that way it was easy to make sure that the application and the timer did not are not one thing. So it was like an externally induced health checks, which makes it very easy for testing because you don't have to wait for another 60 seconds. You were able to just use curl and run another health check. Obviously, you didn't have like one per minute, but it didn't really matter because it was much faster, much easier to test. So let's see what it decides to do now. Okay, in this case, I think it actually, yes, it actually just uses a timer, a Node.js timer, which is totally fine. We can always change it later. For now, we just want to have it running. Let's quickly add some logging so we see what actually happens and that stuff happens in the background. Oh, right. For the database, we actually already have logging because every time it uses the database connection, it actually logs it out. We need to get rid of that still, but let's see that the other stuff also is executed, which at the moment is only our HTTP health check, but that's fine. I think it's good enough for now. Let's do another round of check in. Get at lib. Okay, there we go. So now we should see regular health checks, I guess, if it actually works. Lifecycle logging, run started, run completed. Okay, no checks configured. Okay, fair enough. So let's do this first. And I guess it should happen anytime soon now. Maybe I need to restart it. So it is ensure health scheduler started. Is that actually ever called, like ever? Yes. Oh, it runs it in the. Oh wow. No. You're what? You're trying to run that in the front end? Do I see this correctly? Is that what you do? Oh, I know. Because we did not refresh the page. I think it did not start the health checks. Okay. You see, external or inducing the health check externally is definitely the better option, I think. Not sure why it did that. think we need to be a little bit harsher. Obviously, health check should start no matter if somebody's on the page or not. Maybe the easiest way is to also just have, okay, so it adds instrumentation. We're using Next.js, so I think it was some change with instrumentation and proxy and stuff, but I guess it will tell us if that was true. Register. Okay, no, seems to be working. So 5 service 5 outage, 1 healthy, 1 unhealthy. Which one is unhealthy actually? Does it tell us the current status? Oh wow. Okay, now it completely broke. Can't resolve HTTP. Module not found. HTTP. Why is that? Oops, wrong key. Okay, cool. Where's the copy button? Wasn't there always like a copy button? But let me see. We should have the same error here. Oh, so PG native? Can't resolve PG native. What did you use before? Why are you... Okay, let's just copy that. One more line. I think that is where it is helpful if you understand the code, because sure it can just drop in the error message, but from my perspective, the only thing that will happen afterwards is that it would, well, it tries to use PG, so why is it working once and not the other time? Maybe the problem is... Oh, I think the problem is instrumentation. Yes. Right. Yeah. There we go. Like I said, I remember there was some issue. Instrumentation is actually used on the server and the client, so the browser. And this error message actually happened in the browser, not on the server. But it is still not working. So let's give him the next error message and see how we keep going with that. I want to at least have these services writing stuff to the database today. We're not stopping before that, I guess. Depends. Maybe. Really depends on the coding agent, I guess. And anyhow, I have to admit, I think as a good engineer, a good programmer, a coding agent can make you more productive and more efficient. Don't get me wrong, I love writing code, and I still love to, especially like get the number of lines of code. Sorry, the number of lines of code down. Meaning, I really love to go deep into stuff and figure things out. And figure out how to combine certain things or multiple things into a more generic version, like extracting a function and now passing in parameters to make the generic version behave exactly the same as the like 4 or 5 other things. However, I also know that I can get lost in that kind of stuff. So from that perspective, I think it's actually not completely off to have those things run automatically, or like having someone else writing. Oh, there you go. Cool. Having someone else writing the code. But as I said, you have to keep an eye on it. You have to understand what is happening and what the main idea is. Okay, we quickly want to get the data into the database, and then I guess we're probably out of time for today. Results of the health checks should be stored to the database. So we want to store the data into the database, and I want two tables. One for the actual runtime result. So the idea is that I have two tables. One will keep the raw results and the raw result data that we got from the actual service health checks. The other one will aggregate the values into a daily value. So that when we ask in the front end for the last 30 days, that what we have to query is like 30 rows times the number of services, basically. So we put a little bit of more time into writing the data than we want to have it for reading. The idea is we write once a minute, but especially at a service failure, we might have like hundreds and thousands and 100,000s of requests a second. So we really only want to have like the pre-aggregated result in the database. And we want to use timescale for those databases. If you're not super familiar with timescale is a Postgres extension specifically to time series data. So everything that is related by time is a great fit. In this case, we have the two tables, and I will give them different policies. Or should I do this later on? No, let's do it right now. Chunk policy for the per minute table is 7 days. The chunk policy for the per day table, that can easily be 3 months. And even that will be way too low. So the idea is the way timescale stores data is it chunks the data into time slices, and I basically say that let's actually make this 3 days, something like that. So in this case, I say, hey, everything in a 3 days time window can go into a specific or in a single chunk. For the other one, where we already have the pre-aggregated data, it can be 3 months, right? It could be 6 months, I guess, because we're basically just having like 30 values per day, but or like 30 times service number values per day. But I think it's good enough. So let's quickly do that. I think I have to enable the timescale extension, which might be a little bit of a problem. We'll see. I'm not 100% sure if we're actually handling the preload correctly right now. I think we do, but need to verify. But it's a good test. Vela is is still in active development, and everything I do and every time I find something that we need to fix, it's better than someone else finds it. Okay, so now it figured out it actually wants to use the Vela skill because it's creating Vela or code for Vela, which is cool. So it has now the health check per minute, health check blah blah blah. That is cool. It creates the hybrid tables afterwards. It adds the retention policy. No, not retention policy. That's not what I asked you for. I asked you for Oh, cool! It actually did both. So the way it works is this is what I meant. The retention policy is how long is data actually stored before it is being thrown away, which obviously doesn't make sense. We'll just quickly updating that and tell it to update its own internal state. Um, I want to keep the raw results for, I guess, 2 years, and the aggregated results for, I don't know, like 5 years. Doesn't make sense, but let's just do it. Give it a second until it is ready. Okay, let's quickly have it updated, and then we see if stuff actually works. I think the health checks should fail, but they don't right now, which is interesting. I don't think it actually did it now use the skill to create the additional tables? Is that what it did? No, it did not. Okay. Not sure why it is failing. Seems like it doesn't try to write yet. For now, because I need to check the timescale extension, we'll just run the code like that. Come on. What is happening here? All right. I don't know. Success, no results returned. That's correct. But we have our additional tables. And one last thing. One last thing for today. We asked it to actually store the data. As I said earlier, I'm not an expert on vibe coding. If you feel like I'm doing something completely outrageous, doing something completely wrong, I'm approaching it wrong, I'm happy to learn. I would love to how to get better. I think there is some potential. I still believe we cannot just go wild, and most of the time you really have to at least know, and to some extent, what you do. That's my strong belief, and I really believe it keeps like that in the future. Otherwise, you end up with a lot of spaghetti code. I will not really reuse components and anything like that. So from that perspective, I think it makes perfect sense. Okay, let's see. Okay. Is that actually writing anything? Oh yeah, it actually did. Okay. Database URL is missing. Interesting. Is that what it is? Why do you believe so? Oh, because it's Vela database URL. Yeah. Yes, you are completely right, my friend. So save health check, updating. Now we should, where is it? There you go. Now we should see more stuff coming in. Let me see, when is it executing next? There we go. There's the health checks. Need to reload. Okay, cool. All healthy. Okay, did it connect that? Not that one. That one, no, that still says outage, but now it says operational. Okay, cool. So at least to some extent it seems to work already. The latency is obviously still completely wrong, because it still claims 90 milliseconds, but that is cool. So the status already changes. I like that. All right, cool. I think that's a good point to stop. I'll do one final commit for today. All right, cool. Then, thank you very much. I hope you come back next time. We will keep going here, just like we do right now. What is that? Oh, right. I think I added a license file. So let's do a quick rebase. And with lease. There we go. All right, cool. Again, thank you for being here. We'll keep going next time. There's more stuff. The health checks aren't perfect yet. We haven't tested the Kubernetes health check at all right now, but I think we made some good progress. The first health checks are working. We already see the status of the service updating. So yeah, cool. And do you do the general thing, right? The common thing, like, subscribe, whatever. See you next time.